Hey friends, Karla here. Welcome back to my channel and Happy New Year. Happy 2017. I thought I'd bring you outside today so you can kind of see what the weather's like in my neck of the woods. You can see it's snowing, all those big fluffy snowflakes going past the camera. Yep, that's snow coming down. We're supposed to get snow, I think, all day, kind of off and on. So I think it's going to be pretty white on the ground by the end of the workday. But I thought I'd give you a little peek at what I'm looking at today. And you know, winter is like a hard season to get through. January especially is kind of a tricky month because you know the holidays are over and you kind of need a little something to get you through the rest of the winter. So I thought I would put together a reading list, like a winter book list. So all the books will have a winter theme. And I put together a little printable, so all my planner girlfriends out there, you can download a free printable and pop that into your planner. And so today's video is going to be all about the books. There's just 4 of them, so I think that should be enough to get us through a couple months and get us through the winter and into the springtime. So let's go inside and take a look at the books because it's getting really chilly out here. Okay, let's get started with the first book here. I'll try to avoid the glare as much as I can. All 4 books that I'll be showing you on the winter reading list, I got them at my local library. So they're not super new books, so I think you should be able to find them at your local library as well. Like this one's from 2014, so I think most libraries would probably have this book, but I'll also put links to Amazon if you know, like prefer new books and or don't have a library near you and you'd want to have your own copy. I'll put a link to find them on Amazon, so I'll make it a little easier for you. But this one's called The Miniaturist, and I read this one last January. I think it's in my Happy Planner flip through in January if you've been following that video series. But I love this book and I'm gonna actually read it again. I love it. I love Amsterdam. I mean, I love the cover art on this book. Look at those tall skinny houses. I'm just totally in love with. So anyway, this book is by Jessie Burton. Basically the story is this young girl, I think she's like 18, her name's Petronella. She goes to Amsterdam. She's like from like the rural countryside, and she moves to Amsterdam and she marries this, he's kind of like a wealthy merchant trader sort of a guy. There's just his sister living there with them, and I think maybe 1 or 2 servants in the house, because he's fairly wealthy. So, but I feel just kind of bad for her because she's kind of left alone a lot of the time and she doesn't really know anybody. Anyway, her husband gives her this miniature cabinet, and I think it's so cool that the cabinet actually exists. This cabinet's actually at the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam. So you could actually go see it if you make a visit there. So this person actually existed, although this story is a work of fiction. So the events that happen here and all the events that happen in the book are like November through January. So it's over just like a, 3 or 4 month period of time. So I thought it would be perfect for winter, just to kind of get like a feel of what Amsterdam was like. It also takes place in the 17th century, so it's kind of like the late 1600s. But anyway, let me try and get a little bit closer and see her cabinet. So anyway, the whole story is about this cabinet that she gets from her husband, and she hires a miniaturist to make all these little miniature pieces. And that's kind of where the mystery and the intrigue start with this story, is that little miniature all these little kind of creations and little tiny pieces that this person makes kind of just show up, and they also sort of foretell a message of things that are going to happen in the household. So I don't want to tell too much because I don't want to give away the story, but it's really interesting and kind of mysterious how it happens, and I just really enjoyed it, and I'm actually going to read it again this winter, so I hope you guys will enjoy it too. Okay, my next pick for winter is called The Long Winter. And this is a book by Laura Ingalls Wilder. There's the spine for you. And you know, it's funny. I was actually born in southern Minnesota. And if you've actually seen any of the TV series Little House on the Prairie, a lot of the towns they talk about are either South Dakota or southern Minnesota. But the funny thing is, I never actually read these books when I was little, and I'm so surprised because I'm sure our library was packed with the whole series. But I never actually read them. So this is actually a children's book. But you know, I kind of was looking through it, and I think it's like a good read for adults as well. It says ages 8 to 12, so I guess you can be a child at heart, right? So this is all about how they get through a long winter, and I think the story is about they are living in South Dakota at this time, and they have a claim, they call it. So I think it's kind of like a stake of land, and they end up going into town, which I think the town at this time is, you know, like one street long, so it's not like a town like I necessarily think of a town, like a modern town. So it's really tiny. It's just sort of like the town is just kind of being born, I guess, or being settled. And a Native American comes into one of the, I don't know, probably like a general store or something, and warns the people of this long winter that's coming. And so the whole story, I guess, is about how they get through this winter and survive it. So I thought this would be kind of interesting because I sometimes have a hard time getting through winter, and our winters feel really long here in Minnesota. But obviously these people had it way worse because they didn't have indoor plumbing or nice heating that you can turn on at the touch of a button, or any of the wonderful conveniences that we have. So I thought I would... this would be kind of a fun read to see how kind of more like American pioneer life was. Okay, here's my third pick. This is called A Northern Light, and this is by Jennifer Donnelly. It's actually teen fiction, and it's from 2003. Here's what the spine looks like. And when I was doing some research for this project, this book title came up several times for kind of winter themed reading. So what kind of caught my attention about it is that the setting actually takes place around the story of an actual murder that really did take place in kind of, it seemed like New York State is where it takes place, and it's in 1906 the murder actually happened. So a young woman actually does drown in this lake at a resort. However, the characters in the story, the main character is a 16-year-old, and her name is Maddie. And so she and all other people in the book are actually fictional characters, but it's woven around this actual story of this murder that really did take place of this other young girl. So I thought it's really interesting, and I thought Maddie's character sounded fun to read about. She's 16, and she's just dying to like go to college. And you know, in the early 1900s, you know, most women did not go to college, but she dreams of going to college, and the college that she wants to go to is in New York City. And she does go to school, and sounds like she's very smart, and she's a good writer, but it doesn't sound like from the synopsis I was reading that her family is very supportive. It sounds like it's her father, her mother had passed away, and then she has several siblings. So I'm excited to check this one out and see what happens to Maddie. So she sounds like a character you could really root for and hope that she can, you know, like make her dreams come true. Here's my fourth book. This is called The Paris Winter. It's by Imogen Robertson, and this book is from 2014. So it's also not super new, but fairly recent. So if you want to check these out at your local library, I think you should not have too much trouble. I think the spine is really pretty on this one. I like that little detail. So anyway, this is a story. This also is real events. It takes place in 1909, and apparently, or I should say the setting is real, not the actual people in the story. So the setting is in 1909 Paris, and there is like this kind of you know, horrible winter as far as like flooding in the city and that type of thing. And so this girl is an English girl, and she comes to Paris and she wants to be an artist. So all those kinds of things totally drew me to the book because it was the season I was looking for. I love books that are set in Paris, and I thought it was awesome that it's a female main character and that she wants to go to Paris and be an artist, because doesn't that sound exciting? So this is all about her story, and it sounds like it is a difficult life for her because she's not wealthy. And apparently in the early 1900s, Paris was still an expensive city, just as it is today. So not the easiest city to get a fresh beginning in. So it sounds like from the little synopsis I was reading that she, kind of starts running out of money and needs to find work. And apparently she sort of ends up with some, less than savory characters, and then a whole sort of kind of mystery and adventure ensues. So I'm excited to check this one out, and I think this will help me get through the winter. At least I can pretend I'm in Paris for the part of the winter, so that'll be a nice little escape book, I think. So those are my 4 picks for winter reading. We've got The Paris Winter, A Northern Light, The Long Winter, and The Miniaturist. Okay, here's the printable that you can download for free at my website. It says Winter Reading List, and then I put a little quote that I thought would be cute for winter. It says, "In the winter, she curls up around a good book and dreams away the cold." That's what I'm hoping happens when I escape into one of these books this winter. I hope I can just dream away the cold and go right into spring. So we'll see what happens, huh? So I put each book, the picture of the front cover of the book, and then the title, the year, author, and what type of book it is. And then I also have this little circle, so if you like to check things off like I do, you can check off the box or put a little star or heart sticker or a little snowflake sticker to show that you read the book. And then this is where you find the printable. It's free. You can download it at my site. My site is karlamay.com. So you can just print it off. I designed the printable, so I hope it will work with many planner sizes, because I know a lot of planner girls out there use all different size planners and have several planners going. So this printable, it's a PDF, and when it automatically printed out and it scaled it up to 115%. That made it the 8.5 by 11. So if you have the large Happy Planner, the largest size that they make, you can just print this out at 115%, trim off the sides, both sides, and then punch it, and you'll be set to go. I use the classic size. So I use the classic Happy Planner. So I printed out this printable, and I shrunk it down to 95%. And then all I had to do was trim off 1 inch from the top, 1 inch from the bottom, and then I just kind of eyeballed the sides, trimmed those, and then punched it, and I can just put that in my planner like this. Perfect, fits just perfect in. And now I can read them and check them off. If you have a smaller printer, smaller planner, I think like the A5 size planners, you can probably shrink this down to like 80% and it should fit just fine. And with smaller ones than that, you'll maybe have to experiment a little bit. You could print it really small even and use it as a bookmark too if you prefer that. But anyway, just have fun with it. I hope you like the books. I'm really excited to read these this winter, and I think I might do some more of these reading lists because it was really fun to put together the reading list and the little printable. So I hope you enjoy it and have fun with it, and I'll have more coming in the future. I will see you soon. Bye!